Alrighty, guys. So I get that this assignment this week is a little crazy, so I just want to make sure that this video is just to kind of make sure that we're all on the same page. Don't watch this until you've at least tried it on your own. If you feel like you are just completely, absolutely 100% lost, then okay, that's fine. Take a look at this. But really, doing this as much on your own as possible is going to be the best way to learn this. Okay, so I just wanted to go over what you should have by the end of the week. And I am inside of here. And so I'm inside my root folder, so I'm going to hit Rails S. Actually, not yet. So in here, you got to make sure you generate those two other controllers, right? So generate controller. You should have generated a controller called Pages, capital P, and a controller called Sections with a capital S. And on each one of those controllers, you should have the following views, right? So right here, new, edit, index, show, and delete. So we'd have pages, we'd have new, index, show, edit, and delete. Okay, those I don't think are really in the right order, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, all that matters is that all of them are there. So you'll generate pages and then you'll generate sections. Okay, now I'm just going to kind of try to stick in the same section here, and we'll just kind of go through and do everything we need to do. So in the pages controller, it's going to look a lot like the subjects controller. Okay, and same with the sections controller, you just got to change things out. So you got pages controller, you got that class. Remember, you need layout faults, so it won't give you any weird errors about CSS and stuff. So really, it's just kind of the same. We got at pages instead of at subjects, right? So at pages, page sorted. Okay, that's sorting the page using that's the other thing you got to make sure that you do. Make sure you get the models, that you get all those different scopes and all the different models, right? So if I come to the page model, there's all my scopes. If I come to the section model, there's all my scopes, and I just copied and pasted them from the subject scope. So you want to make sure that all the models have those scopes in there so you can use them. Okay, so that's the scope that I'm using, sorted. Okay, then I'm defining show. Then I'm just searching for the thing using the instance variable page. Okay, and then the page class, setting up a new one with the instance variable page, page new. Feel free to pause the video as needed. Same thing here, set up another instance variable. Okay, we're using the page params. Remember, you need to make sure that you define that down at the bottom. Now this is going to be a little bit different because if you open up pgadmin, I guess we'll do that. Why not? If I come down here to the page params, we're still requiring that a page exists, right? An instance of the page exists, but we also have different ones that we're allowing. If we go to the subjects controller, we allowed only name, position, and visible. Those are the only three that we needed to worry about. But when we go to pages, we have a lot more in the database that we need to allow. And you got to be really careful with this. If you don't allow the correct ones when you go to run the SQL and have it work, it won't. Okay, so if I go to Heroku Development, we're going to head over here to Pages. There's the pages, I'll view the data. All right, so we got the ID, subject ID, name, permalink, position, visible. Okay, but we don't need the created at and updated at because that's done automatically by Rails. So subject ID, name, position, visible, permalink. So you got to make sure you allow all these. If you don't, when you go to do it, you'll get weird errors on your Rails server saying that it began and then it rolled back, kind of like what we got a few weeks ago. So just make sure that you have the correct things being allowed right here. And that being said, yeah, when we get into the templates and stuff, you got to make sure that these are showing up there as well. Okay, so it's using the page params, okay, to create it. If it saves, it's going to do that flash notice. It's going to redirect to page's path. It's not subject's path, it's page's path. So basically, you're going to just kind of take everything that's inside the subject's controller. I'd rather that you type it out, but if you want to copy and paste, that's okay. Just as long as you know what all the code's doing here. But anyways, so, and then if you copy and paste, you basically just go in here when it says subjects, you put pages. When it says subject, you put page, and so forth. And you just go through all this. Okay, and then if it saves page created successfully, puts in that flash notice, redirects to page's path that's using that URL helper. If it doesn't, it goes back and it renders the new view. Okay, this isn't a class or anything like that. It's the new view. If we come down here to views, it's that one right there. That's what it renders. Okay, then we got the find to edit. We're going to find it first, and then we're going to update it. We're going to use update attributes. We're going to pass that private function, page params. Okay, so we got page params. The biggest issue you might run into is just not renaming everything correctly. But it's okay if you do that. When you try to run it, you'll get errors, and it's not too hard to fix. Okay, render edit, so it goes to the edit view. Remember, this is the pages controller. So when you delete it, you find it. Okay, it finds it again, and then it destroys it. Okay, and then it says which page was destroyed successfully. Then it redirects to page's path, which is the index. Okay. Because remember, when you create these controllers, it's automatically going to create these views as well. So they should be down there. Okay, then we have page params. Okay, and you make sure you permit all of these different columns inside of the database. All right. Hop over to sections. Same thing, except for instead of pages, we have sections, and instead of page, we have sections. So sections, same thing. It's all the same stuff, except for now the private function is sections param. Okay, but sections path, and the URL helpers. Okay, again, like I said, feel free to pause as needed. We got the edit. It's finding, update, it goes in there, updates the app attributes, it uses the private function again. Redirects to section path with that ID. Okay, delete, destroy. Okay, and then down here we have section params, the private method, private function. Checks to see if that exists. The section exists. If it does, this is what it passes in. This is what it allows. Page ID, name, position, visible, content type, content. Those are all the different columns inside of that table. Now, when I first tried this, I didn't have all of these in here. I only had name, position, and visible, and it just wasn't working. So it was either because it requires all of these, which I don't think it is. What I think it is because I wasn't permitting them. Remember, by default, all of those are turned off, and none of them can be mass assigned unless you say they can. So because I wasn't saying that every column could be mass assigned, it wasn't letting me. Even though it was weird because I copied and pasted the form, so I only had a name, position, and visible, and I'd fill it out, and I filled it out for section, and it didn't work. So I think it was expecting some of these. Oh yeah, remember we set up that the page ID has to be there. Where was that? Let's see. Yeah, remember the belongs to? When we set up the belongs to, that by Rails is default. It defaults to, sorry, this is just my own little revelation here. But it wasn't working because I was trying to put these in without page IDs, and these were foreign keys, and the foreign keys have to be there because of what we defined inside of these models with the belongs to. Like, I can't create a page unless a subject is there with it, right? I can't create a section unless a page is there. And that page is the page ID and the section ID and all that. So that was the issue. So that's why that wasn't working. I was trying to create things without subject IDs, and I was trying to create sections without page IDs, and it was freaking out because of that. So once I permitted those and put them in there, it started to work, and it worked fine. Moral of the story, right? Just make sure you're permitting all of these different columns. Okay, so that's for the pages. Okay, section, well, I guess we were on section, right? So you got to have the page ID, you got to permit that, permit the name, position, visible, content type, and content. And remember, these are referring to the database here. So if I go to the sections, okay, page ID, name, position, visible, so forth. Okay. So once you permit those, it should work. Subjects, I'll just put it here just in case you need it, just in case maybe it isn't working. But this is all the same stuff except for subjects instead of pages or sections or whatever, but it should all be basically the same here. Feel free to pause as needed. But I did test this code and it worked. Okay, and then we set up the subject params, and then it's only name, position, and visible. That's all that you need to permit with the subjects. Okay, so that should be it for the controllers. That's all you got to do there. Okay, now for the models, you just got to make sure that the scopes are in all of them, like we already talked about, so it can access that sorted scope. Okay, on line 8, right here. That's the only scope we're using right now, but we may use others later on. Okay, and then when we have the section, same thing. I just copied and pasted all the scopes from subject, and then subject, that's where I got all the scopes from. So I just took all the scopes, put them in section, and I put them in page. That was it. Okay, now over to the views. So the page delete view is just this. It's really similar to the subject one. So if you want to copy and paste delete and put it over into the delete for pages, that's fine. Just make sure you kind of name everything. So back to list is fine. That's out. No, that's not fine. That's out. That's going to go to pages path instead of subjects path. Okay, this is pages delete instead of subjects delete. Okay, delete page. Okay, we're grabbing that instance variable from the controller page. Right, over here, page, we're grabbing that. Okay, the method's delete because we're deleting. Okay, are you sure you want to permanently delete this page instead of this subject? So you're just naming everything to match the pages instead of the subjects. Okay, f.object name should be the same on all of them because you're just grabbing the object that you're messing with. It has nothing to do with page or anything like that. It just pulls the object that you're messing with. If you're messing with the page, it'll work. If you're messing with the subject, it'll work. Okay, then we have the form saying delete page, and then we end it. All right, so that's for the delete. Edit. It's a little bit different. Okay, this is going to pages path, right? Pages edit, edit page. Okay, the form is for that object page that has all the database stuff stored into it. Okay, here you're just going to have to add the stuff that you allowed inside of the controller. So inside of pages, right, we added the subject, ID, name, position, visible, permalink. So inside of here, you're going to just add text fields for that because you want to be able to edit the name column, right? You want to be able to edit the subject ID column, permalink, position, visible. So you just got to make sure that you have a text field for all of those. Okay. And then the submit button is going to say edit page. And then you have the end. Okay, so pretty similar, but you're just going to be adding text fields for all of the different things that you could edit on that page. Index. Again, I just copied the index from the subject index, this will work no matter what, so you don't ever have to comment that out or anything. You put that in, and if it has something in there, it'll work. If it doesn't, it won't. So I just changed that to pages index. We got pages here. Okay, instead of subjects, link to, we got add new page instead of add new subject. This goes to the new page path instead of the new subject path. The action, the class just kind of stayed the same. Summaries, page list. Okay, and then in here I started to put all the different things that we're going to pull from the database. So the subject ID, the page, the permalink, whether it's visible, how many sections are on that page. Okay, and then actions. That's the new, or that's the edit, view, and delete. Okay, so this grabs the page's position. Okay, that's the number there. And then we got the page subject ID, page name. That's the page permalink. If it's visible, it says yes. If it's false, it says no. It's right in there. And then page.sections.size. What that's doing is it's going to see just how many sections are tied to that page. And that's what the size is giving us. So if you create a section that uses the ID of 1 and you're messing with the page with the ID of 1 here, and there's let's say 5 sections tied to that one with the ID of 1, then this is going to give us 5. So this will just give us an idea of how many sections are under that page or in that page. Okay, that's what we're doing there. So you got to make sure you change that. Okay, and then we have the links. So page path page, edit page path page, delete page path page, so forth. And then you should be good. Okay. All right, new. It's really similar to edit. I actually copied it from new into edit. It's basically the exact same thing, except for you change the class. You change that this says create page instead of edit page. And then you come down here and you say this creates page instead of edit page. There's only those 3 things. Everything else is exactly the same. Okay, show. This is the page that'll show the individual page, right? So we got the flash notice again up there. Pages path, going to change that. Show pages, pages show. And then again, we have to get in there and just line it up with all of the different things in the database. So we're going to show the name, we're going to show the subject ID, we're going to show the permalink, we're going to show the position, and we're going to show if it's visible. And then the created at and the updated at is what I have in the pages there. Okay. Sections, very similar, except for you're going to be pulling different things from the database. So delete's almost exactly the same as all the other deletes, except for you have sections delete, you have delete section, form for section, that pulls it from the controller. The method you're using is delete. Are you sure you want to delete this section? Reference name is the same. Okay, remember that works on all of them. And then delete section. Okay, so that's delete. Edit, similar to what pages edit was, just sections path instead of pages path, sections edit instead of pages edit, edit section instead of edit page. Okay, that's going through section, the instance variable section form fields for the summary, and then these are the things you're pulling out: the name, the page ID, the position, visible, the content type, and then the content. So this is going to allow you to edit the content that's going to display in that section, and you're able to tell what type it is. Okay. So that's just the only things you really got to pay attention to on the edit here is you're doing the name, page ID, position, visible, content type, content, and then down here, edit section. So just compare the code that you have and just make sure you make the appropriate changes. Index, same thing. You just got to put in the right stuff. We got the flash notice, sections index, sections, link to, add new sections path, update all that, sections list. Okay, and then these are the new things that we're going to be displaying on the index here. Got the number here, the order, page ID, the section, if it's visible or not, or actions. Okay, now notice on pages we have page.sections.size, and then on subject we have subject.pages.size. It shows how many pages are attached to that subject. Well, now that we're down in sections, we don't have that. There's nothing that's attached to sections, so we don't need to have that one anymore. All right, so that's the position, ID, page ID, the section's name, whether it's visible. If it's visible, if it's true, it'll say yes. If it's false, it'll say no. Okay, and I commented that out because I wasn't sure. And actually, you don't really need that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can just get rid of that. I don't even need that. Okay, and then we have the section pass section, edit section pass section, delete section pass section, those URL helpers, show edit delete, action show, those are all the same. Okay, and then we end it out. Okay, so that's all you're changing here, just the different things you're pulling out. So I'm going to count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. All right, then we got new. Same stuff. Section's new. Go to section path. Create section. Goes through the form here. Saves everything in F. We're pulling out the name, or we're going to be saving the name inside the database with text field name, the page ID, text field, position, text field, visible, text field, content type, text field, content. Just remember, this is if we were creating a new section. We'd have to fill out all those different things about it, which page it's going to be attached to, the name of the section, the position, if it's visible or not, and then the type of content, and then the content itself. Then we'll have the button that says create section. So you got a few more things you got to have on your form there. Okay, then we got the show. This just shows all the different sections that there are. We got the flash notice again. Back to list, sections path. Class stays the same, sections show, table summary, show sections, section detail view. Okay, then we got all the different things it's going to show. It's going to show the name, right? So section.name, page ID, section page ID, position, section position, visible. If it's visible, it says true or false. Content type, section content type, content, section content, created at, updated at, so forth. Okay, really quick, I'll go through subjects. I'm not going to really talk on subjects. This is just if you need help to get subjects to work, you can pause it and it should help you. Here's the delete. So go ahead and pause it if you need help with that. Here's the edit. Go ahead and pause. Okay, now I'm going to go down a little bit so you can see the end. Okay, moving on. There's the index. Same stuff, it's just we're dealing with subjects. Okay, and there's the bottom. New. Okay, there's the bottom. Then show. There's the top. Okay, and then there's the bottom. All right, so you would think you were done, and no, you would be wrong, okay, because you still have to do the routes, right? Okay, so there's the resourceful routes for subject. This covers all 7 of the actions except for delete, so you have to add delete this way. Then you got the resourceful route for pages. Adding delete in there as well. And then you have the resourceful routes for sections. And you're adding delete. So same thing except for you have subjects, pages, and sections. Okay, so once your stuff looks like that, pretty sure that's it, and it should work. So upload to Heroku, just like the last video showed you, and it should work. The stuff in your database won't get put up there, but you should be able to create new pages, new sections, new sections, and holy cow, I am old. Pages, sections, and subjects. Yeah, should be able to create all 3 by going to your Heroku link /pages, your Heroku link /sections, your Heroku link /subjects. Test it all, make sure it all works. When it's all done, then give me the link to the pages controller. Okay, then give me the link to the sections controller, and then give me the link to the subjects controller, and then you'll be done. Okay, guys, hope that helped. Good luck. Let me know if you have any problems. We'll see you.